I'm going to build a high-performance cooler from mostly scraps. I'm going to start by using Gorilla Glue to glue these smaller pieces of styrofoam together into one larger piece. I've got my smaller pieces glued together, making one sheet that's about 1.5 inches thick. And then I'll cut those panels to size for the sides and end pieces of the cooler box. I'm using, as mentioned previously, the original Gorilla Glue. A couple of things about Gorilla Glue. One, it does expand as it cures, so you have to account for squeeze out. And also it's activated with water, so the glue is applied to one surface, and then I use a spray bottle to spritz the other surface with a little bit of water. To cut the styrofoam, I found this foam cutter tool on Printables that uses the same blades in these little retractable utility blades. Discovered that if I expand it or enlarge it by 200%, it's perfectly sized to fit the larger sized utility blades, and so that's what I'm using to cut the styrofoam. I've got my styrofoam pieces for the sides cut to size. I was able to get them cut reasonably straight and square. This is going to be a lunchbox size cooler. I'm using a piece of scrap foam board I had for the base. I think this could be used for almost any size cooler, this same method. This is just how much styrofoam I happen to have on hand. The glue up came out fine. Yeah, it does look a little bit rough at this point, but that's fine because it will get covered with an interior and exterior shell. And before I do that, I'll use a bit of caulk just to fill in some minor gaps. For the interior and exterior shell of the cooler, I'm going to use this scrap cardboard, cut it to size, wrap it in this adhesive vinyl sheeting, and then glue it onto the cooler using Gorilla Glue. I'm cutting the vinyl about 3/4 of an inch larger all the way around so that I can wrap it around the edges to protect them. And that makes a nice, lightweight, durable shell, I think. Here's another panel, and I've already applied the glue. I'm trying to use a super thin layer of glue since it does expand. I've also tried to scuff up and score the cardboard a little bit just to get a little bit better adhesion. I'm gluing on 2 of the panels at a time. So in this particular case, I'm gluing on this exterior panel and then the corresponding interior panel. And that allows me to get good clamping force from the weights. I've got cardboard strips covering the top surface of the cooler, and that cardboard can be covered with the adhesive vinyl sheets, although I've decided to use foil tape because I have that on hand and I think it'll look cool. Here's the idea for the lid, where this piece will hopefully be sort of a friction fit inside the opening, and then I'll use the foam tape to create a gasket around the edge to hopefully provide a seal. Everything covered in cardboard and adhesive vinyl. I think it would actually be fine to just tape down these seams and be done with it, but I'm going to add a cardboard strip for reinforcement and then some 3D printed corner brackets as well. I've used double-sided foam tape and weather stripping to create a gasket on the underside of the lid, and I'll cover that with vinyl. It's looking good, but let's add handles and a latch. Attach things to the surface of this cooler, or there's no good way. But what I'm doing is I'm exposing a little bit of the underlying cardboard, scuffing it up, and then epoxying a plate that I cut out of a scrap piece of vinyl tile, and then I'll put in a couple of screws and cross my fingers. I'm going to add some silicone sealant to the interior seams, and that should wrap it up. On this third attempt, I think I've succeeded at building a durable, lightweight, and well-insulated cooler at minimal cost. My only out-of-pocket was $8 for 2 rolls of adhesive vinyl. Admittedly, I used an awful lot of consumables like glue, tape, caulk, and I will provide a full list in the description field. Regarding the latch and handle, I don't necessarily think this is the best solution, but I was trying to use materials I had on hand. I'll also provide links to the corner protectors and edge protectors that I downloaded and 3D printed. Thanks for watching, and here are some close-ups.